Hi everybody, I'm Oliver Hines, aka Diamond Oz from MetalUnderground.com. I'm very happy indeed to say that we're here with Michelle, aka Away from Voivod.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank
good,
you.
Good.
Yeah.
Straight into it, you're promoting a new EP, Post Society.
Yeah.
Why did you do an EP rather than doing a full album this time?
There was a lot of touring the last couple of years, and even though we were able to ride in the bus, it was hard to record between tours, so we decided to do a bunch of split 7-inches with At the Gates, Napalm Death, and Tomb Baby, and so it's sort of a combination of 3 singles plus 2 new tracks, 2 new tracks with Post Society and a cover of Hawkwind Silver Machine.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Was that like your own personal tribute to Lemmy?
Exactly. When we were doing the recording the remaining tracks for the EP, there were lots of cancellation of shows on the Motorhead 40th anniversary tour.
Yeah.
And we thought it's time to pay homage to Lemmy, and Snake and I were very familiar with the Hawkwind song, but Chewie and Rocky were not. So we looked it up on YouTube and we winged it.
Yeah, great. Surprised they're not. I'm 27 and I'm very familiar with it. But so are there plans in place to record a full length?
Yes, next year there'll be a full album, concept album actually.
Okay.
But we have no dates for recording sessions right now. We're gonna spend the winter writing some new material and rehearsing a lot, and so we were supposed to deliver an album by the end of this year, but since Death Crusher, we must have played about 175 shows, and it's really hard. So we told Symphony Media that we'll have a new album for sure ready for next year, though.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I look forward to that because was it 3 years ago? Target Earth came out then.
It was in 2013, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first one you've done for a while that didn't have. Well, the first one you've done that didn't have Picky's guitars on it.
Yes, exactly. It was the first LP since 2009 when we did finished Infinity with Jason Houston, and so it's unfortunate because when the album came out, Snake was taken ill. He had to get an operation, and then he came back, and then we lost Blackie with personal problems and all that. So everything was sort of very slow, and once we got Rocky in 2014, it started to be full throttle again.
That's good. So how's Rocky settling in since he joined?
I think it was a perfect match from the start because like Snake is my childhood friend and Rocky is Chewie's childhood friend, so it's a very good team. Plus their first show when they were 13 was Voivod, and they were together and all that, and now they're playing in Voivod, so it's really amazing.
There seems to be kind of a pattern developing, is that fans of Voivod end up. I remember hearing that Jason, you said always wanted to do a band like Voivod.
Yeah.
And obviously ended up.
I know that Jason admired Voivod a lot when he was in Flotsam and Jetsam, and so when he joined Metallica, he kept promoting the band by wearing the shirts in front of thousands of people, and so it's been he drew a lot of attention to the band, mainly when he joined the band, of course.
One thing, speaking about Voivod from the start, is obviously you've always used pseudonyms, you've always used monikers, different names.
Yeah.
What was the reasoning behind it?
Well, we thought like, because we have French names, Michel Langevin, Denis Bélanger, Jean-Yves Thériault, Denis D'Amour back then, and so we thought it'd be much easier if we had like a nickname, sort of a mixture of, let's say, the Ramones and Venom, and so something catchy that sort of reflected the personality of everybody, and so it turned out to be a good move, even though it was meant to be a bit silly and funny. It's sketchy, you know.
So in that regard, how does Away reflect your personality?
It's a mixture of things, my concepts and drawings, but also because when we were in 1984, when we were writing War and Pain, sometimes I wouldn't show up at rehearsals because I was in science at the university, and I had a lot of homework and I couldn't like really do both to 100%, you know, and they called me away a bit because of that. Eventually, War and Pain came out, and it had a bit of an impact in the thrash metal scene, and that's where we all dropped out basically.
Well, you mentioned there about your artwork. You have become quite well known for it. There's obviously the design of Voivod album covers, Gino t-shirts as well.
Yes.
But you've done plenty of work for other artists. I remember getting a hip-hop album when you've done the front cover Necro.
Yeah, it's actually Necro and Ill Bill from Nonfiction.
Yeah.
When we had the bad crash in Germany in '98, Eric Forrest was singing and playing bass, but he was thrown out of the band and seriously injured, and I was like doing not much for a year while he was in the hospital, and that's where I started to do art for other people. Necro was, not Necro, Ill Bill was the first one to contact me through Matador Records, and he asked me if I could draw a Nonfiction logo. He asked me for a logo that was Voivod oriented, so I did something sort of black metal-ish, and he said, no, I want like a Voivod ripoff. Okay, so I made more of a Voivodian logo, and he said, no, I want you to do like a flip of the Killing Tech logo, like, oh, okay. And he was actually the first one who asked me that, and afterwards, many people asked me to copy the Killing Tech logo and turn it into their logo, but I always told them somebody thought about it first. And so, and then from then on, I started to, the word spread, and I started to do a lot more work for Danko Jones, and the big push was Dave Grohl. When he asked me to do the art for Probot, and then the first really came in, and now I do that full time, except for recording and touring, of course.
Yeah. Do you have a preference what you're doing, music or art?
Not really. It's all like a combination to me of in the sense that if I do a logo for a band, I'm gonna ask for music to listen to while doing the art, so it's really connected. And also because I love music and art, so I will usually ask for the music and also a set of lyrics to make sure that it's not like fascist or sexist.
That's great stuff. Obviously, you've been going for quite a long time now. How has the Canadian metal scene changed, specifically in Quebec, since you started?
Oh, there are a lot of bands now. We share stages at festivals with friends from Montreal all the time. Cryptopsy, Gorgot, Despise Icon, Cataclysm, and it's really exciting. Most of them are very technical. It's sort of the Quebec sound in a way. And but when we started, there was only like Anvil and Exciter, basically, and Rush, of course. They were more like precursors of metal. But since then, we've opened lots of doors, and it started slowly with Damnation, Aggression, Dead Brain Cells, and in the 90s, we saw bands from Montreal everywhere on Earth. And it was great, and it's still like the case right now.
Well, the first Voivod album I ever bought was Negatron. How does the Eric Forrest era, how does that looked upon nowadays?
Phobos has been rediscovered. People like it a lot. It's a bit like Angel Rat, which was like a bit controversial when it came out, and now people really love it, even though it's out of print. But Phobos is one album that people really love now. When it came out, it didn't sell at all. Nothing.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us.
Very welcome.
I look forward to the show.
Cheers.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, bienvenue.